This video is brought to you by the Deck of Minis new sets of animated spell cards, and by Steamforged Games and their upcoming Kickstarter for Animal Adventures of Faraway Sea. Hello and welcome to the Gallant Goblin. Today we have another preview box to share with you. The next set of pre-painted minis in the Icons of the Realms booster box system is called Snowbound, and it looks to be largely supporting the Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden adventure. Many thanks to WizKids for sending us this preview set to share with you. When we get a full case or a full set, we'll have our usual lore-filled video for you, but today we're just going to be giving you my initial impressions. But before we jump in, if you are playing Rime of the Frostmaiden with some Icons of the Realms minis, you might enjoy our two 5e supplements over on DM's Guild in the Fight Your Minis line, the Tomb Tapper and the Snowy Owlbear. These little booklets give you all sorts of lore, new NPCs, magic items, art, and new encounters to get the most out of your Snowy Owlbear and Tomb Tapper minis in your adventures. And if you're not playing Rime of the Frostmaiden, don't worry, most of the encounters can be used in other adventures too. Just head to dmsguild.com and search for Fight Your Minis, or check the links in the doohickey down below. Now let's go ahead and see what we have in our preview box here. Starting at the top left corner, we have a little dragon Wyrmling, a white dragon Wyrmling, number 23 here. Very cute. There are quite a few little white dragons that are in Icewind Dale, so this one makes a little sense. This is a really cute one. It's nicely detailed, got little tongue sticking out, looks sort of like one of the little raptors in Jurassic Park to me with wings. That's what it makes me think of. Nice little start there. Next we have, this is a Quaggoth. So these are one of the races that was relatively normal and benign when they lived on the surface, but they were driven into the Underdark by the elves. And when things are driven into the Underdark, they usually become corrupted, and they ended up falling in line with the Drow, and because they both had a shared hatred for the elves. And so that's where the Quaggoths ended up becoming a little bit more evil. It's a cool looking creature. It kind of looks a little dirty with his fur. Very cool. Let's see what next we have. This looks like a hag. Oh, this is number 35, Mod a Chiselbone. So there are going to be some spoilers here for Rime of the Frostmaiden. I'll try to keep it kind of spoiler light as best I can. She's holding some entrails there, which is kind of cool. So Mod Chiselbone is a lake hag in Rime of the Frostmaiden. I believe she just uses the stat blocks for a sea hag. And yeah, so I won't say too much about her, but this is a cool looking hag mini. Nicely dressed with the fur around her neck to make her look like she fits into the setting. And, oh, we have a very little one here, if I can even get it out. Okay, this is a cauldron. I'm assuming this goes with Maud here. An interesting little accessory, because she has a cauldron of plenty to cook her guests. Cook for her guests. Yeah. And it's got a little bit of a translucent steam effect coming up from it, so I assume these two go together. Otherwise, I don't know what that would be, but it looks like a little cauldron for her. Let's see what's next. Ooh, this is a cool one. This is a Verbeeg. So this is an older D&D race, I think right back from 2nd edition or so. And it's a giant kin. It looks a lot more humanoid than a lot of the giants do. I think they're sometimes called human behemoths. And they do show up in Rime of the Frostmaiden. I think that's our first appearance in 5e. But yeah, it's carrying a keg, got some scratched up shield and a staff and a spear, That's a very cool looking mini. You might even be able to use that for a half orc or something if you wanted to use it as a player character. Next one. Ooh, that's cool. This is Grandolpha, number 38. So there's a lot of Icewind Dale NPCs in this set. This is Grandolpha Musgarft, I think her name was, something like that. And I think she was one of the head of the Duergar clans in the Rime of the Frostmaiden adventure. You don't see a lot of Duergar that are dressed in nice winter coats and got a little staff to walk with and a little keg, a little tankard thing on her belt. That's very cool. That's an awesome little Duergar mini. All right, next we have, ooh, that's just a sea hag. Number 39. So this is just a regular proper sea hag. So one of the things the first thing that jumps out to me is that usually the characters with little thin legs like this are the ones that have the most bending problems. And I wonder if her having her legs kind of spread apart like that will make it a little bit less prone to the bending. Maybe it's a little bit more stable on the base. But if you are interested in learning more about sea hags, you can learn about them in Volo's Guide to Monsters, which has a whole chapter based on the various kinds of hags. And you know I love my hags. So look at that one. These are supposed to be the ugliest of the hags, but I don't know, the anise hags are pretty ugly too. And next one we have, oh, interesting. This is 37 Spellix Romwod. Okay, this is another character from Rime of the Frostmaiden. I don't want to tell you too much about him because he's an interesting character in the adventure, but he's a goblin. You can see his interesting goblin face. His face is supposed to look a little bit different than your normal goblin. I won't tell you why, but it's a cool little goblin character with his winter clothes. I think he has even little winter boots on. That's super cool. I love it. Next row of minis. Oh, that's cool too. This is number 41, Ravisin. So Ravisin is a druid who is wandering around Icewind Dale and animating a bunch of animals and plants for their own purposes. I won't tell you what comes from that. But if you are interested in learning a lot about animated animals, be sure to check out Animal Adventures of Faraway Sea, which is coming to Kickstarter on July 20th. But Ravisin here is a very cool looking mini too. Could also be a good PC character with their translucent daggers. All right, next. Ooh, hello. This is a Bullywug. This is a Bullywug Royal, number 42. I don't think there's any Bullywugs in Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden. This is probably from Ghosts of Saltmarsh. I think they had a Bullywug chapter in there. But, you know, Ghosts of Saltmarsh never got a proper WizKids booster set, so they sprinkle sometimes those creatures into other sets like this one. And this is awesome. Little cool outfit with a little crown on his head, little makeshift crown. This is a super cool mini. And here's our first large mini. Hello. Okay. This is number 43, Veneranda, I think it's pronounced. So I really don't want to tell you too much about this one. As you can maybe tell, he is kind of a brain in a jar sitting atop a helmed horror. And this is definitely a creature from Rime of the Frostmaiden. Very cool sword. It'd be a little difficult to make this into a standard helmed horror to use in your adventures, but you know, maybe. A very cool monster boss mini that you can write into your own stories if you want to. Next we have, looks like a polar bear. Yeah, just missing a can of Coke, but this is number 29, a polar bear. Definitely from Rime of the Frostmaiden. I don't think they show up in Ghosts of Saltmarsh. And yeah, I mean, he's a polar bear, standing up on his hind legs, looking a little ferocious. So to add a little color to your battle maps or some random encounters while you're going around Icewind Dale. Nothing wrong with that. And here's another large. This is an ice troll, number 26. And ice trolls are fairly similar to the regular trolls, and they have the same sort of regeneration. But these guys, I think, have a cold aura, and I think they just deal extra claw damage when they claw you or bite you or what have you. Very simple paint job, all kind of one color, monochromatic, but it's got the inside of the ears and the mouth that are painted pink, and kind of some, I don't know, fur or something covering him. So a little fur-covered troll there. Very cool. And moving back to a littler one. This is a little winged kobold. And this is, ooh, it's a little hard to read. I think it's Trex, the winged kobold, number 40. So Trex, if I remember correctly, is another character in Icewind Dale Rime of the Frostmaiden. He's a particular winged kobold, but I think his wings are fake, if I remember correctly. But what's interesting about Trex is that he speaks perfect common. Very articulate little kobold, which is unusual. So it's an interesting conundrum when they come across Trex here in the story. I put him up front because he's little. Next one, we have another large. That looks like a mimic. Number 27, a spitting mimic. The spitting mimics also show up in Rime of the Frostmaiden. They're larger, more powerful mimics, and they have the special ability to spit acid out at you. This one looks like in the form of a stalagmite and little tentacles coming off of there, so you can use this in any adventure. You can never have too many mimics. This one's just funny looking. This is 28 Snow Golem. Of course, the Snow Golem is kind of what you think it is. And he's got a giant snowball over his head that he's ready to hurl at you. These are just dumpy looking creatures, but come on, it's kind of cool. That's a fun thing to throw at your party if you want to have maybe a bit of a light-hearted, but probably still quite challenging encounter for your players as they're exploring. Another one of those kind of random encounter ones. And here we have number 44. This is a Myconid Sovereign. So it's another one I don't think shows up in Icewind Dale Realm of the Frostmaiden. I think the Sovereigns are actually just basic monster manual creatures. So the Myconids are living sentient mushrooms who live in the Underdark, though they're not generally evil, I believe. They're usually pretty peaceful. I've never actually had an adventure where the Myconids show up, but I would love to because they're so colorful and interesting. They are an Out of the Abyss, and so this would be a cool creature for that. And very cool creature. I'm kind of not sure why he's in the Snowbound set, but it's a cool addition. It's good to always fill out those basic monster manual creatures that we don't have minis for just yet. And I don't think we have a Myconid Sovereign that I can recall. This one's definitely an Axe Beak, number 30. So the Axe Beaks are sort of the horses of the 10 towns. You can use it as a mount. And for that purpose, if your party is wanting to get a bunch of Axe Beaks for transportation around, you may want to get a couple of these minis. He'll be an uncommon in the set, so you'll probably get like 3-ish of them if you get a case. But this might be a popular one on the aftermarket because I don't think we have too many good Axe Beak minis either. So that's pretty cool. And getting into our huges now, this is an Awakened Tree. I think I said, animated earlier, animated tree. I meant kind of awakened earlier when I was talking about Ravisin. Anyway, this looks like any other normal tree, but you can tell the roots are pulled up so it can kind of be self-ambulatory and just kind of wander around on its own. And maybe he was awakened by Ravisin. This is, I believe, another creature that's in the basic rules, even the monster manual, the Awakened Trees, because you can make these on your own. There's an Awaken spell that the Bard and the Druid have access to. He's on a huge base, and that is an awesome mini right there. And we got 2 more. This looks like a Stone Giant. And indeed, number 33 is Stone Giant on a huge base. We have a couple of Stone Giant minis. This is not a particular kind of Stone Giant. This is just a regular old one. I feel like the skin is a little bluer than the other Stone Giant minis. I think they were a little bit more on the gray end. So we'll have to put this next to our other Stone Giants and see how he stacks up. He's kind of got a striding thing, so he might not be as tall as the other ones carrying a club. So just an interesting addition to the collection. And we've got one more that looks to be very cool. This is another huge mini, number 34, the Warforged Titan. I teased this a couple of videos ago. We had a Warforged Titan unpainted mini in a different sculpt. You can see that review by clicking that little floating eye up there. This is from, clearly, Eberron Rising from the Last War. And House Cannith built these guys after reverse engineering some old, ancient, giant technology. So that is our cool Warforged Titan, pounding his hammer into the ground, making some electric sparks there. And that's what we have for our preview set here. Snowbound is scheduled for release in August, but release dates are extra wobbly this year, so check in with us to see if the release dates have changed as time goes by. We will have a full review of the premium set with this as well, the Frost Giant and the Mammoth that's sitting right over there. And we also have a review of the 2 Snowbound promo figure sets, Lizard Folks and Bugbears. We'll have that this week, so stay tuned for that. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out the sale going on over at animatedspells.com. The Deck of Mini is releasing a new line of animated reference cards, which will finally fill out those higher level spells and bring you a lot of other fun sets too, like Conditions and Townsfolk and Illusions. I love my animated spell cards, and you won't want to miss out on the pre-order discounts going on right now. Check them out at animatedspells.com. And we're also getting closer and closer to the launch of the next Kickstarter from our friends over at Steamforged Games. Animal Adventures of Faraway Sea, the Animal Adventures series, allows you to play as awakened animals with all the stats and rules that you need, plus a whole new setting that'll fit right into your regular 5e games. They recently announced 5 new animals that you'll be able to play as: the alpaca, otter, red panda, fox, and albatross. And my God, look at those minis. Use the link in the pinned comment down below to sign up to be notified when the Kickstarter launches on July 20th. That's Animal Adventures, the Faraway Sea. And thank you for watching today. Remember to check out our Fight Your Minis series on dmsguild.com. If you enjoyed today's video, liking it helps other people find us. You can also join us on Discord, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For now, please stay safe, have fun, love each other, and I'll see you next time at the Gallant Goblin.